freaks and geeks out there in podcast land. It's Wednesday, January the 25th. I said January like I was French. January the 25th, and you know what that means. Welcome, freaks and geeks, to another smoke-filled and jam-packed episode of the Doctor's Orders podcast with the 512 Foot Doctor. The podcast where I meet with some of the most creative and influential people that I know to share stories from the ride of life. As always, I am your host, the 512 Foot Doctor, coming at you live and direct from the one and only studio of Life or Death. If you're a returning freak or geek, thank you very much for checking back into our regularly scheduled appointment. And if you're new here, turning in for the very first time, well, welcome. Welcome to the Freaks and Geeks family, and I gotta let you know one thing: you better buckle up for this ride, because it's gonna be a hell of a show. Freaks and Geeks, this week's episode number 27 of the podcast, features an incredibly talented female artist that is I've been following for some time on Instagram, and I really get down with their work. I really appreciate what she throws out, what she creates. She does an amazing job at all of her creations, just putting her own little twist onto her art style and the things that she appreciates. So we're going to talk about a good amount of stuff in this podcast episode, a good amount of creative expression, and just where she comes from, how she got started in her just total artistic endeavors, and just what she's getting into, what she has planned for the future. And I'm gonna drop the podcast in just a couple of seconds. I want to give you just a brief little warning. I would say between minute 10 and minute 16, you're going to hear a little dog toy action in the background. My apologies on that one. Try to keep it raw here on the podcast, so push forward through that. Continue to listen to it because it doesn't take a long time, and you will miss some dope stuff if you skip through that part. So don't do that. Just be aware. You can get a little dog toy action in between those timestamps. Other than that, the episode is clean gravy, and we talk about just expression and artistic creation at its finest. So here it is, episode number 27. With TiffyInks. All right, so we got a new guest in here for the podcast today, Freaks and Geeks. We got our sixth female lady guest, so that's a solid milestone. I always try to get some interesting women in here to just chat it up on what they do and what they make and what they appreciate, just to keep it diverse and just to keep it open as well. But I would like to introduce to you an artist, an amazing artist, joining us today via Zoom out in North Carolina. Freaks and Geeks, put your hands together for TiffyInks. What's going on? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I would just thank you so much for chiming in, for being open to be on the podcast, and taking your time to just chat it up today. So before we get into like our first talking point, you are the sixth female guest, and I'm just greatly appreciative you can chime in and do that. I sometimes feel like the podcast just realm is flooded with male appearances and or guests, and I'm always fascinated, and when it changes up and like your podcast host or podcast program throws a woman in there and they can speak. So thank you for that. But let's get into our introductions. So I call this little section the life catch-up. It's, I don't know, I'm a big Heinz 57 fan, so it's kind of where it pulls it. Hopefully we get a little Heinz 57 sponsor one day. But I want to open up with this little segment. What I would like for you to do is tell the Freaks and Geeks, introduce yourself to the Freaks and Geeks. What's your name? Where are you from? And what do you do?
Okay. So people say TiffyInks. Most people really know me as Tiffany Wilson specifically. I am originally from Bowie, Maryland, Prince George's County, Maryland, as some other people may refer to. No, I'm nowhere near Baltimore whatsoever. I get that question asked a lot. I am an artist. It is a side job, hustle, I guess, if you want to call it that. Could it turn into something as a full-time passion? Possibly. I would love for it to go that way. But for now, it is just a side job. I do have a regular full-time job Monday through Friday as a front desk coordinator.
All right. Cool. Well, excellent. How's life been? Like, how's your life been going on lately?
Lately, I want to say this is probably the most busiest month I've ever had this year. This is kind of a little bit of a slow year for me in a sense, I think, because I kind of want to take a little bit more into doing more networking versus me taking on a lot of commissions. Last year, I was probably busting out 3 or 4 commissions a month. So this year, I've narrowed it down to where I probably do like 1 or 2 a month. And it's probably the pace that I need to have, especially if I'm trying to like put myself more out there this year than I did last year.
Do you, and I know I'm kind of hopping around here, but do you time-lapse film your commissions as well?
Certain ones I have. I just never got around to actually posting them on my YouTube. I really do need to like update that. Seriously, I think the last one I posted was probably back in February, and I have like endless videos that I'm just sitting, and I'm just like, yeah, you might want to update this, because I do have a few followers on there who are like, hey, when's the next one popping up? So I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I promise. So it's a slow progress.
All right, so I want to get into some random questions for you. I like to just call this section like the fire starter section. Just gonna blast off a couple of questions, and if they entertain and or interest you, go ahead and let's see what your perspective is on this one. But let's start it off with what's your favorite movie?
Ooh.
Or 3. I don't want to narrow it down to like that solid one, or whatever.
Got you. Okay. Definitely John Wick.
Okay.
Is definitely one. Dark Knight, second. And the third one, it is a little cheesy, but I gotta say it, the Rugrats movie is definitely in my top 3.
Cool. So you got some John, you got some Rugrats, and so you got some a little Batman in there. Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh man, Freaks and Geeks. I know you might hear a little squeak in the background. That's just the dog playing with the toy. I know it's tough for audio, but we're just trying to keep it raw and keep it live and keep it interesting. So if those pop up, my apologies. Let's move it on. What's your favorite restaurant you got in your area, and your favorite restaurant where like you grew up, if you want to throw those out there?
Let's see. Growing up, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's probably gone now, but there used to be a place called Shoney's. Yeah, it kind of gives you like that old buffet style restaurant. Yeah, that was one. We didn't go often, but every other chance we get, Shoney's is another place. Applebee's, of course.
Okay.
Definitely in like those 2 would be it. Favorite restaurant now. There's a little mom and pop shop here in Raleigh. It's called Benlow's Cafe.
Okay.
I am obsessed with their Belgian waffles. And they really make good ones. You can dress up like as many different toppings that they have. I think it's like 15 that you can choose from. Yeah. And then there's also like their coffee is real authentic and it's very strong. I think it's like some good Colombian coffee from my standpoint. So I've definitely had a chance to just hang out there. I like the vibe. They also do have artwork hanging in there too.
All right.
And then they also do like spoken words, poetry nights. I think it's every other Thursday each month. So it's actually pretty nice. I've been to a couple of times, so I enjoy those moments too.
Oh, so poetry nights, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. I just want to, put a little flag stamp on that one. You started to kind of venture off and break out into that lately, haven't you?
It was more so a one time for the good time. I used to write poetry a long time ago, between like 2006 through 2009. I kind of feel like those are like the dark era times. Yeah. And so I figured one of my friends has been like itching for me to get on the stage and actually recite one, since she's done a poem from a long time ago. Yeah. So I told her that for that one good night, you will get a chance to have me on the stage. And so I did. It was refreshing. It was nice. It was different. And definitely when they said that the lights are bright on that stage, it was definitely like extremely bright on that stage. I barely could see anybody out in front of me. I was like, well, this makes it easy.
Yeah. So did you have like a little bit of stage fright or what? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Prior to it, yes, I did. But definitely, like, as I started getting into it, I got more comfortable. So I felt like
how'd you
speak about it. Huh?
How'd you handle just that performance anxiety? That's that little stage anxiety there. What'd you do?
Given that the lights were so bright, I was not able to really see that many people. I could only see maybe like 2 or 3 that was sitting like directly in front near the stage. So it kind of like put my mind at ease because I'm thinking like, oh, it's just me and myself in a room, no one else. So I was able to like put that behind me and just let it flow.
You've done live paintings as well, right?
Yes, I did 2. This past Friday, no, not this past Friday, I'm sorry. The first Friday in May, I am the featured artist for a Good Trip Gallery here downtown in Raleigh. And I did my first large piece, which was the Marge on the cover of Jet magazine. That's a 36 by 48.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks prior to that, they have something here called Taco Tuesdays, which is kind of like a poetry slam, but it's like an improv type of nights where me and a couple of my friends, we were working on paintings. And that's where I started working on the power line painting. That one is 24 by 36. Prior to that, I've done like other art shows where I might bring a painting with me and I'll just work on it to kind of like pass by the time, because a lot of it can be stagnant during moments when it's not too busy. So most of them are like much, much smaller pieces. I've done like 16 by 20, 18 by 24s, or like 8 by 10s. So yeah.
That's cool. Nice. So let's see. What's your favorite holiday?
I don't have one.
No favorite
Shockingly. I don't have one. It's almost like I used to like them as a kid, but then once I hit my teenage years and I had to actually have a job, I was like, yeah, these holidays aren't cutting it anymore. And then especially I used to work in the hospitality industry where basically they don't care what day it is. You still have to work.
Want to get the money.
So it kind of just like dimmed all the rest of it for me. So I was like, yeah, no. I look forward now to where I get those days off, yes. But have like a particular favorite one? Nope, not one.
What about season? You got a favorite season?
Fall. I do not like spring because of allergies. I don't like summer because it's obviously way too hot. And I do not like being too cold. I don't like snow. I don't like ice. None of those things. Now, will I go like skiing and tubing? Sure, fine. But for the most part, like fall is comfortable weather. I'm not sweaty. I'm not freezing. I can have an option if I want to wear a jacket or not. So I like to have options. I don't want it to be where I have to be either too cold and I have to be so bundled up and I'm burning up in the process, or I'm in the spring sitting here having tissue stuff up in my nose because I'm trying to breathe because of allergy season.
I gotcha. Do you play any musical instruments?
I don't, but if I had an option to, I definitely wouldn't mind like playing like saxophone or the piano for sure.
Saxophone. Do you remember Lisa's saxophone player?
Yes, I actually painted her and she was sold within an hour. That was probably the fastest painting I think I've had sold for a while. Yeah.
Do you remember her teacher's name?
No, but wasn't he, I thought, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he played by Stevie Wonder?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I'm going to have to check that one.
I think it was Bleeding Gums Murphy was his name. That's a good episode. I dig that. That's very nice. Well, that's cool. A little saxophone player. Those desires, if you did. That's nice. What's your favorite drink? It could be traditional beverage and or alcohol. What are you going for there?
I'm going to do both. So traditional, this is going to be cheesy as all get out. I hate to say it, water. It has to be like, I'm picky about my water. Like Essentia and Smart Water are probably like definitely in my top 2. I kind of like go back and forth.
How do you feel on the Niagara?
Haven't.
No? Never had it?
Okay.
All right.
Alcohol-wise, I'm a brown and whiskey person. I do not like white. I don't like tequila. I've had my share of those things, but it just does not suit me well. So brown-wise, I like Douce. Whiskey, I like Woodford Reserve. And Bullet Bourbon. Like, those are like my top 2.
Yeah. Do you like a good whiskey cocktail?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a huge, anytime I travel, I gotta find out who makes the best old fashioned. So far, the Grand Hyatt in Chicago, actually, their bar, I don't remember the guy's name, but he had like this weird mustache that curls up at the top. Yeah. And we went there for a press conference for my job at the time. I was working in DC, and he made all of us probably one of the best old fashioned I've ever tasted in quite some time.
Yeah, I love a good old fashioned. Love the ice. love just how it's pretty strong. You know, it's a strong little bit. But it tastes well. A little orange, just a little orange shave, and then cherry. That's I love that. Excellent. Let's do a couple more randoms, and then we'll get into your stuff. All right, this one's weird. Okay, so tell us about your MySpace page. Think back.
Ooh, my MySpace page was very artistic.
Yeah,
it absolutely was. I was that person. I think at that time everybody thought they was a coder. So I would literally have like my top 5. They'll be scrolling one way, and then the next 5 underneath will scroll the opposite way. Definitely had a lot of pictures at that time. My dad had like his first dog. He was like a Pomeranian Pekingese mix. That was always my background. It constantly changed to probably be from when he was a puppy all the way up to when he got a little bit older. I think at that time, definitely I would have my music change like every 2 weeks. As that background, every 2 weeks, the background would change all the time with different music. I'm definitely like heavy R&B person at the time, still am now. Yeah. And so those are like a strictly thing for me. If anything, if I didn't do nothing else on my page, I would change the music.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a different time with the whole like simple coding and backdrops and whatnot. And you could really, I don't know, it definitely was entertaining. Man, I'm trying to not give my dog this toy, but he is. I took it away and he was like whining. I was like, all right, man, go and knock yourself out, okay? Love you, but I can't throw it right now. Do you have any pets?
I don't. Okay. Not at all. I do want one next year. I'm considering. Ideally, I would love to have a Doberman or a Rottweiler. Yeah. But I know with like apartment restrictions and all that stuff, I will probably end up getting like a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel instead.
That's cool. That's cool. Back he comes over here. Let's see. What's your favorite place to travel?
Ooh. Any place that has a good scenery, any place that has like a good mom pop shops, somewhere probably like an old town area. Usually they make the best bar food. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. I would say the beach, but then after a while, like the smell of ocean water will probably get me a little nauseous.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Texas?
I did actually. My old job, we went to Austin. Shockingly, we stayed. We went for our annual. Yeah, we went for the annual meeting. It was so long ago. I think it was 2016. Yeah. I want to say 2016, 2017 when we went down there. It was like a spring summit annual meeting that we had. We were there for like 3 days. And I think at that time, my supervisor was not feeling the best. Yeah. But they did say everything is big in Texas. And I think I had like an authentic taco. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, can I stay? And then y'all can like, you guys can fly back. I'm good right where I'm at. And the weather was actually really good. So we were there like mid-March. Good time. So thankfully for us, we definitely didn't have like that super, super bad, like dry heat, but it was definitely, we were relaxed for sure.
Yeah. No, you can find a hell of a taco down here. I'll tell you that much. Let's do a last one. Then we got to get to it. Okay. Last one. Do you have a favorite sport?
Football.
Football. Okay. All right. You got a team. Do you have a team?
I do. I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. Okay. I know a lot of people find that weird because when you're in Maryland, like, no, you're supposed to be a Washington fan. No, absolutely not. My mom distilled that in me. She's a Dallas fan. Actually, her ex-husband, he's an Eagles fan because he's born and raised in Philly. And my sister kind of like sides with him now too. But don't ask her about football. She don't even know who the quarterback is now if you ask. But yeah, I've always been stuck with Dallas. And then my mom actually tried out for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader team when she was younger. So, yeah.
That's cool. Man, that's really cool. Yeah, even though I'm from Texas, I'm not a Texas football appreciator. Okay. Don't get down. I'm a Steelers fan through and through. Okay. I'm all for that city when it comes to their sports teams, whether it be the Penguins or the Pirates or the Steelers. I'm all down. Okay. No, I get you not wanting to get down with, the team that's near you and whatnot. I don't know. There is something about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's transition our next little segment I call it the craft. I want to talk with you about what you do. So how'd you get started being a creative person before that? Okay. Like where you're at now, like what is one of the origins like of what you do now?
So I started off in elementary school, like in third grade. At that time, they had like the Washington Post. Sundays were always like my favorite days because at that time there was the only time you get the chance to see some of the comics colored.
Yeah,
like Garfield, was it Spider-Man, Beetle Bailey, Baby Blues. Those are like my favorite things. I used to like enjoy drawing. So from time to time, I would just randomly be sitting in class, just sketching them out. Used to get in trouble for it, but I started to graduate towards more getting heavy into cartoons. I was heavy 80s baby, so it's always been stuck with me for a while. As I got into middle school, it started to get more heavier where I was drawing like Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry. Started to get heavy with Scooby-Doo, huge Scooby-Doo fan, still a Scooby-Doo fan. Then more shows like Dexter, Cartoon Network, and kind of more leaning off of the Hanna-Barbera, per se, like Jabberjaw, Josie and the Pussycats, Penelope Pitstop, Muttley. Yes, Hong Kong Phooey, Muttley. What's the other one? Bird Caveman, I think that was his name.
Man, right, Captain?
And Wacky Races. That was probably like my favorite thing to watch all the time when I would get home from school. And so that kind of like instilled in me for the longest.
Yeah. Do you remember Two Stupid Dogs?
Oh my goodness, they get on my nerves. Oh, and the Secret Squirrel. Yes. Oh my! I couldn't. The guy who's like the head chief. I kid you not. There was a teacher in my middle school who sounded just like him. Yeah. It used to crack me up every time I would hear his voice, especially when he would get upset and you can hear him yelling down the hallway. And I was just like, "Wait, that's that guy from the TV show," but looks nothing like him at all. You would never even think the voice doesn't match him at all.
Yeah. No, those are great selections. Cartoons. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I was listening to some of your other interviews and just really trying to dive into that little, media form to kind of prepare for this. And I heard somewhere along the way that your father got you into an art program, or was it an art school?
Yeah, so at that time, they used to show like these infomercials where they're like, hey, if you can draw this, then you belong to this program. So my father, I guess, took it beyond himself and he bought one of those pamphlets, I guess, fell for the infomercial. And he gave it to me. He was like, here, draw this so I can mail this off. So I'm like, okay. So at that time, I think it was like a Bear character face. And next to it, there was like this skull you had to try to draw. So did it, sent it off, and it was like called Art Instruction School Program. It's basically like, I think it was 16 weeks, and they mail you kits of whatever your instructions are. You have to try, and it's like different mediums. So I got introduced to watercolor. I got introduced to regular paint, acrylic, oil. What else did I learn? Calligraphy, like literally the old school. You have to dip the pen in the ink, and they give you like the Pacific paper. Charcoal, I had to learn etching, which is very hard to do. And wood carving was also another part of it. So basically, they'll give you those assignments. You get like 2 weeks to do it. You have to mail it back out. And you're graded by like these top-notch professional people, curators. And I felt like with me doing that only in like middle school, they were kind of a little harsh. And I was like, well, dang, I'm just a preteen. Like, I'm not no Picasso yet. Like, geez, like let up some. So like my grades were like B's and C's. And I was like, oh, I don't like this.
Were you in art class in school?
I took art classes, but to be honest with you, I hated them. Yeah. I did not like it. I didn't like be putting on the spotlight. I was like that quiet kid. So I didn't like when teachers would come and look at my paper and they want to like show it to the class, like, see, this is the example. And I'm like, no, please don't. Like, I just want to stay in my bubble. Let me just create. Even all the way, I've always been that way, even in high school. And then I took even a college course class, which I took a basic level because I didn't know how advanced I was or not. Yeah. And I got kicked out the first day because they told me I was way too advanced. It was like, no, you need a 400 level class. And I was like, oh, okay. So I took a 400 level class in college, and that actually like blew my mind because I had a chance to like study naked people where we literally are drawing from whatever angle that we're standing from. But I also was, so I was also able to learn about charcoal, which is actually like my second favorite medium to actually work with outside of markers and paint. Yeah. And I wish I still kept some of them because I made like some pretty huge pieces, and it taught me a lot about patience. It was very messy. I definitely did not wear my good clothes going into those classes because 9 times out of 10, I'm constantly touching or putting stuff. My car will be messy. I had to put a towel down so that way I don't have to get all the charcoal on it. It's very hard to get out of cloth. So that was fun. But yeah, that's pretty much like how I started with art instruction school. It was nice. It had me a chance to like explore things because my father wanted to see what other places besides, doing markers that I was going to be good at. Yeah. And gradually I learned into painting on my own. Was it 2018? When I taught myself how to paint, which everyone is always so shocking to learn that it's taking me a short amount of time, I guess, to get to where I'm at now. But if you only saw them paintings I did in 2018, I think I still have one. Yeah, it was definitely a big growth.
Sure. I want to go off that. Do you know anything about I think it's 10,000 hours? You ever heard about the 10,000 hours for like your craft?
No, I haven't.
I don't know. I mean, I believe it's true as well. Like people believe that you have to put 10,000 hours of work into something before you can actually like be good at it. And you'll still struggle, but at that point in time, you'll know the ins and outs, the ups and downs of your tool, your instrument, your means of creation. And it doesn't even have to be creation; it can be sports as well. But you have to put in that amount of time, they say, before you really have a good hand at a good knack for it. So I kind of believe that.
Yeah,
it takes time. Who are some of your animator / artist influences that you draw from? I mean, I know you've spoken on the Hanna-Barbaras and the Scooby and stuff like that, but do you have any others specifically?
Of course, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, that whole realm, that 80s, 90s realm, for sure. I think for a while, like a lot of people used to know me for my crossovers. I used to actually blend characters from different shows together. I think the biggest one I got out of it was taking Hey Arnold and Recess and merging them together.
You did
actually, yeah, I did that one. It was done, probably my first big piece I did, all markers. I believe it's 16 by 20.
Yeah.
And that took me probably about two weeks to do. That one is gone and sold. And another one that people liked, I did for Halloween 2 years ago. Bob's Burgers as the Addams Family. That one, one of my good friends back at home, she has like a whole bakery shop and everything. She has it hanging up there, and she always cracks me up from time to time because when she gets a chance to go back there, she's like, "Oh my God, I still can't believe I still have it."
Yeah. Are you ready for that movie?
Oh my goodness, yes, I am. I'm actually working on a Louise piece today, simply because I'm obsessed. And then I have a 18 by 24 all markers. And I think I have the first 5 seasons. I think I'm having most of all those characters all on one.
Oh, that's nice. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's awesome. I like that. You're working it. You're for surely getting out there and putting the hand to create, dabbling in it. I like that. You've done a fair amount of like showings per se. What do you do to prepare yourself for something like that? What do you do to prepare yourself mentally and to prepare a piece for something like that?
It really depends on the type of venue. Most places, they'll kind of like pretty much send you like, okay, this is the wall space that you're given. This is the amount of pieces and sizes. So once they give us that information, I kind of like go from there. Usually most of my pieces lately, they kind of been fitting in with most of their criteria. And if not, then usually I'll try to like, okay, what is my time frame here? Like how many pieces or how much time do I really want to invest into creating something either small, whether it's big? I think the preparation for it actually is a lot more smoother than I thought. I think besides my first show, I think now the more I do them, it's kind of like you're just going to get whatever I have already done in the process. Beforehand, I used to be like, oh my God, I have to work on this, I gotta work on this. But I realized I was starting to burn myself out a lot faster, and I was driving myself sick just because I felt like I had the need to do those things. But then now it's like, hey, if I only have, 2 or 3 solid pieces to put in for the show, then that's what they're going to get. And usually I kind of like go with that mindset, like, hey, at the end of the day, you're here to basically like network. I think at the time when I first started doing the shows, I was like pressed to like have so many things sold. But the longevity of it, the long haul now, it's like you'd be surprised how many people that you get yourself introduced to. Just the other day, actually, somebody sent me an email. They remember me from the Pancake and Boo show I did back in March, thanking me basically to bringing back the nostalgia work that I had. They admired like how clean my work is. Yeah. And they actually told me to keep in touch. He's actually executive director for a company that's out here in Raleigh. And he asked if I have any Super Mario Brother characters that I'm going to be working on in the near future, like to please let him know, because he definitely has like heavy interest in them. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's shocking. So I think for me now, it's like I focus more so on networking, regardless of how many pieces I put in the show, for sure.
Nice. All right, Tiffany. So the next question I want to ask you still pertains to art. Tell us about like the art scene out in Maryland and the art scene out in Raleigh, out in North Carolina. What's going on out there?
So Raleigh, their art scene is okay. I think for the most part, a lot of people, they have something here called Artsclosure, which is kind of like a big art festival. They just have like all different types of vendors, all from printmaking to arts and crafts. They even have like a little kid mart, where even kids themselves can also sell work. They actually usually have it the weekend before Memorial Day. So it actually just passed I think if I'm not mistaken, it's 2 days. But for the most part, they just recently opened a place in Durham where everything is kind of like literally made out of, I can't think of the type of bins that they are, but I guess they're like recycled. But there, people can like, hang out there. There's art pop-up shops that they have hosting there. That's cool. From time to time, they have something called like the Black Flea Market, which happens every Sunday during the spring all the way up until late fall. From there, you can just see like all types of arts, crafts, people who sell clothes, jewelry, artwork is also there, candles. I'm trying to think of what else. Of course, they have like the art museum that's out here. It's not as close as like Maryland, D.C. art museums, but it's pretty steady. They have something called the CAM. I think for that one, it's kind of like more of a private, if you want to host like your own gallery event. Usually most people use that space to rent out. In Maryland, it's a little bit more different. They have more openly shows. Yeah. Besides like Pancake and Booze, they'll have different festivals like Broccoli Fest, where they'll have like art vendors show up and you can sell work there. Something in the water, like usually in Virginia, they'll have, art venues pop up like there. And then a lot of people like go to Norfolk constantly because they have like a lot more vendor opportunities, as well as like more open gallery spaces. A lot of my art friends I know of they're constantly doing like their own solo shows. So there's so many more opportunities to like look at galleries and rent those spaces out. Whether if you're doing like a sip and paint or even if you're doing your own exhibition. So for the most part, like I'll travel between Raleigh and I will go back home sometimes for certain events, and as well as go to Charlotte. Charlotte is more heavier on the art scene because they have the Mint Museum. And then from there, some people have memberships with Mint Museum. So like if they have events taking place in the city, which is, I want to say, almost any and every other month, there's always something going on. And they're constantly having artists out there, whether to have work displayed or if they're doing like mural work. Mural work is real heavy, real popular now with a lot of artists, which is actually something I want to learn and get into because I think that's like the next step where the art is slowly starting to phase besides the NFTs, but that's where it's starting to happen at the most. So for now, it's like, I guess since now we're not really necessarily out of COVID, but now that some people are like allowing like their spaces to open back up. So I think with Raleigh, they're trying to do the same thing. They have something now called Art Space, where they're trying to do now opening up more to the art community, where they're allowing more people with all different genre backgrounds with art to come and use up their space, or they need people to fill in spaces for whichever exhibition they're going to have for the next 3 to 6 months. or even into the next year. I think last week they put out, they're searching for people now. If they want to have an exhibition to host for next year, you have to put in an application now for it. So that way they can go ahead and do the selection and let people know, I think like early fall of this year, on whether they get in or not. So it's like Raleigh's trying to catch up with what Charlotte is doing. Yeah. Hopefully I'm enjoying to see how the transition is going to happen, besides them having just art exposure, what other art events that they're going to have. So for the most part, I think, I do a lot of my art traveling.
That's good. It sounds like a bunch of opportunities out there, and just like stuff continuously starting to pop up everywhere. That's excellent. Let's see. How do you, this is a question that I thought of earlier, like, and I've always thought of it though. I've always noticed it. Do you ever notice, and how do you feel if you've noticed this, but like when a cartoon gets a major like motion picture film, how the art like style or the animation style takes a major change after that? Have you ever noticed it? How do you
did. Depends on, I guess, how good or bad the character relates to me in a sense. Because, like, for example, Scooby-Doo, I've noticed that now, like the newer Scooby-Doos, they almost kind of look real refined and choppy almost, versus how they used to look. Even like the color, they look a little bit more brighter versus like how Scooby-Doo was. And then they had like lots more, it's more darker, more dull.
Did you like Zombie Island?
I did. I actually did like Zombie Island. And even then, like I've noticed like afterwards when they started making even more anime Scooby-Doo movies, that it tends to, I don't know where they're trying to lean it towards. It almost looks flat, not like 3D or even 2D almost. Yeah. And even now with their show, it still looks a little bit flat. I think it's a little bit weird sometimes. I guess it just really depends on the genre. Even like now, I guess like everything is trying to, like Paramount's doing these 3D shows like they try to do with the Rugrats. Make it that 3D. I was definitely not a fan of it whatsoever. And then now they're trying to move into the more live animation, like with the Pokemon, with that Pikachu movie that happened. And then now you have like Sonic Hedgehog. It's kind of weird, that whole transition. I was just like, I'm not sure how I feel about any any of this is a little weird. So, I don't know. It's an adjustment.
Yeah, for sure. Who's your favorite character in Hey Arnold?
I actually liked Helga.
Yes, I loved Helga. I did Helga.
Helga had zero fucks to give, excuse my language. But I also realized that Helga, like, she low-key plays like this tough girl role, but at the same time, Helga has this soft side to her when people realize it or not. Yeah. And the secret love that she has for Arnold is really, it's fun to watch, and it's adored. That undefined thing that she has for him. And even then still, I think naturally she does have that care in the world, but she plays this tough girl role so hard. And I'm just like, girl, we know the story. We really know how you can be, but that's okay.
Yeah, she is amazing. I like her lines as well. I think she has the most sophisticated script, like on the show. And I do hope to get that voice actress on the podcast because she is good.
That would be dope.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Talk to her about that whole stuff. But yeah, I rewatched the entire series like a year ago. Just from because it's been available like on Hulu and whatnot. But as a kid, like we never got the opportunity to watch the entire thing, you know. For us, it was weird. It was like they would show it and then it's just like, all right, we're not making Hey Arnold anymore, or all right, we're not making whatever show anymore. It's like, what?
So we just drop out the face of the earth, you know, like no warnings, no nothing.
Yeah. We can't rewatch it in its like order because y'all don't make it like that, and then eventually that stuff started to become like available. But did you watch the movie, the Jungle movie? How'd you like that?
It was different. I still always prefer like the actual Hey Arnold movie per se, but it was cool. It was nice though. I mean, I felt like maybe the animation looked a little different. I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
I wasn't too disappointed off that. It did have an animation adjustment for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, wait, something looks a little bit off. I mean, I get it. And then I noticed like the colors, the clothes, the outfits, all of that has changed. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I get at some point, they have to grow up and they got to move on. But I thought I heard recently that entire Hey Arnold setting was not taking place in New York at all, that it was taking place, in a whole different state. I'm like, no, there's no way.
Yeah, Seattle thing, I believe, or Oregon, one of those. Yeah, I love the creator of that show, Craig Bartlett. He's talked about it. I like him a lot. But what I liked about the movie is you finally get to see that Arnold Helga kiss, and it's like, yes, it took that long.
I'm like, really? Like, seriously? Like, come on now. But it was good, though. I was like, all right, fine, we get that. I thank you very much, because I felt like if it was not going to happen in this movie, I'm like, at this point, don't try to make another one or a third one where it's finally going to happen, because I'm not even going to be up for it.
So I was just skimming through like some of your other creations, and two of them that stick out are, well, definitely, and I want to talk about this in the next segment, but definitely all Batman the Animated Series stuff. I love that. I think that's one thing that drew me towards what you do, is how fine you have down the Joker, or essentially all of them, and in that style. Your Joker is pristine and crisp, and they all are. Your Dr. Freeze is just ice right there. That's damn it, that wasn't good. I really like that. I didn't mean for that one to come out. Two-Face off the chain. You got the Riddler done as well, that is just out of sight. So I love those. But where I was going with this is the Flintstones ones that you have, where they're all black and white, and then you just kind of over their face, you put the color palette that should be on that, right? How did you come up with that idea?
I guess I was trying to think of how to make them a little bit different. So I figured I'd do it in the style that I know that most people, like my mom, she's a huge Flintstone fan. During that time when she was younger, they were always used to be in black and white. And so for me, I was always, I think at that time, Instagram had this Pantone filter where it's if you take a picture, it'll hover over it. You get to see the 3 original colors for it. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually trying to imply that. So then that's when I decided, okay, we're gonna make these little grayscale, but I wanted that Pantone look where I want to show their original colors on top of it.
That's cool. No, I dig that. Did you ever see the old Flintstones cigarettes ads?
No.
They used to do Winston cigarettes ads, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they were all for that. But
I've only just been referred to them as the Flintstone chewables. those commercials, but no, I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, this was back then, and I don't think it was meant to be a children's show. I think it was trying to pertain to adult animation, of a Bob's Burgers. And just somehow it got, because it's supposed to be a pull off of the Honeymooners. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Back onto your art, I noticed you do. I don't know, what is that technique where you have multiple of the same image just aligned or placed upon itself on your creation space, i.e. the Rick and Morty one where it's all Morty or Rick and
the multipliers.
The multiplier. What do you come up with that? The Scooby-Doo. Very cool.
There's an artist by the name of Jerkface. Most people may or may not be familiar with him, but if not, the rapper Drake has 2 paintings done by him. And he actually, I think a while ago, he posted it in his Instagram story or something. And since then, that guy has blown up. But I've always been infatuated watching his work per se, and how he's so intricate with trying to multiply certain characters, whether you might see their face, whether it be just their outline of their body. And I told, for me, I wanted to go back and do another Rick and Morty piece. I've done Rick and Morty a long time ago. I want to say maybe 2020, 2021. and they were on a much smaller scale, and those were gone instantly. And same thing happened with both of those. Actually, that's probably the fastest I've sold a piece that I haven't even finished.
Yeah.
To someone I actually work with. He's a huge Rick and Morty fan. He needed something to hang in his office. And so I told myself, I'm like, you know what, let's go big. Since I've now gotten accustomed to working with bigger canvases, I'm like, okay, we're going to put Rick and Morty bigger, but how do I want them to stick out? So for me, I figured let's just do the standard Rick, but change his eyebrows. Like, of course, when you watch Rick and Morty series, his eyebrows are really the only thing that changes a lot on his face versus him having like that same nasty little, I don't even know if it's like goop, drool or whatever on the bottom of his mouth, but it's so sickening. But I felt like I didn't want to keep that, but I felt like since his eyebrow changed, like let's do it that way. And then with Morty is just an odd person in general, but the same issue with him is his mouth always changes, but not necessarily like his eyes or too much of his face expressions. So for that, I kind of wanted him to stay, but I also wanted him to stick out because I'm like, since Morty is really so plain, he doesn't really have as many character faces as Rick does. So with Morty, I was like, well, what's one of the out of Rick and Morty characters, which one do you like the most? So I chose the evil Morty episode, and so that's what explains why he has that one patch over his eye, and I figured that would make him stand out even more. So yeah, so my colleague has both of them sitting in his house, and his wife, she doesn't really understand cartoons that much, but she's impressed with, one, how long it took me to finish, and then two, the fact that they're just that huge and it's so clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took a while.
No, they are clean. I dig them for sure. Do you have any like cartoon cells? Do you own any of those? Anything like that? No, I find them interesting. I think they're really cool. I'd like to get like at least one from like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network show. I think that's interesting to like have that, like, I guess it's a piece of animation history for sure. Cause it's like
definitely
the, studio. Did you ever get a chance to go to a Nicktoon studio in Orlando?
I did not. I think I've been down to Orlando studios, but I haven't, like when we went, I think at that time it was like closed, so we didn't get a chance to go. So we had to like go in the other parts of the park. But I was really upset that I never got a chance to like actually explore it.
This is so cool. Like it's not that at all anymore. But just seeing that as a kid, it was like, man, that looks so cool. I want to go there with the slime, and
I wanted to get slime so bad. I was just like, I just wanted to see what it smells like.
Yeah, if you're ever interested, there's like a final walkthrough online by a vlogger. I think I can't believe his name is slipping my mind. Adam something. I forget what his name is, but he did a great walkthrough of that studio before it shut down, and it was all like abandoned, but it still had all the classic art. So I think that's cool. Have you seen these like? There's one artist, and I was looking him up right now. I can't remember like what his name is, but he'll take a certain character, be it like a cat, and then he'll go through all the other like similar cats that are
exactly who you're talking about.
Throw them like on the same body. What's your take?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Who is that?
I don't remember his name, but I do follow him, and I find it weird that I like his tradition, or I like the choices that he do pick. Which I think the weirdest one I saw was the Winnie the Pooh, and he was making Winnie the Pooh like take a crap, but it's like his head is still coming out of it. It was the weirdest thing ever. But I actually like seeing stuff like that because, one, some characters I haven't seen in such a long time. I think I saw one he did with the dogs, and it had what's that thing? What's that guy's name? Huckleberry Hound. Yeah. I've always imagined like people when they do stuff like that, or even what's this guy's name? His name is Matt Gondek, and he has like these exploding Simpson characters. Yeah. I'm always interested in seeing how people intricate how a lot of these characters are merging together. Like, what do all these cats have relations to each other? What do all these dogs have relations to each other? I don't know if they're trying to do something as genre wise, like what year, all these characters were introduced. But those are definitely people who I follow because I'm always looking to try to figure out ways on how to like expand my creativity with art world. especially with what I do now. And I'm always like reaching out to them. They're always happy to like give advice as well on whether if I think like this will stick, will it not stick. And even then, for me, it requires me even going back to watching some of the old like Boomerang shows, watching old Nickelodeon shows and all that too, to kind of keep it going.
Yeah, I'm looking up. Man, I can't. I was gonna get on my Instagram and share you, but
Alex MDC or something or somewhere along those lines. I think now I thought about it. It's like it's either Alex MCDC or MD something.
Well, the guy I get down, I think this is him. His name's Thumbs1.
Yeah. So like him, and it's like him, and I think there's another gentleman too. He does the same thing, Alex. But I do follow Thumbs1 up too. But I think he's based in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, that's how.
I bought one of his prints, the Scooby Doo one.
Okay.
But then I was trying to get the Dr. Doom piece that he has, but it sold out so quick. But I thought, if I'm not mistaken, it might be back up on his website. I think he made more prints of it.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, let's see. Let me get back to one thing here. Last little art question, and then I want to talk about some antagonists. But what do you to achieve as an artist? Like, what marks do you wish to leave off?
I definitely want to stay in the pop artist category. I feel as though as a young black female, that is one category that I can say that I don't see where there's another African-American female trying to advocate in that area. And I know that some people want to try to gravitate me out of that. They want me to go lean towards more portrait styles, and it's not really my thing. I don't have an issue with people who do them. But for me, I wanted to let people know that, one, it is still okay to still draw cartoons, anime, all of those things. And I want people who do look up to me, whether they're either older or even younger, or those who are even trying to get into where I'm at, to understand that all of it really just takes time. And even for me, like, I lack patience on certain things, and I have to realize, like, everything that's happening now, it's a slowly but sure progress. But definitely, I want to continue with me being a pop artist. I want to stay in that genre. I want to stay in that category. For sure, solo exhibition. That is actually in the works.
That's good.
For next year. I'm actually going to have it back at home in Maryland, to make it easier for a lot of people traveling wise. Some of my friends and family who are all over the place. I definitely want to go ahead and travel some more. I'm actually going to be traveling to Cleveland, Ohio in July, to be a part of an exhibition. And I'm looking forward to that. That's my first time I'm ever having to travel that far. Usually I'm kind of like mostly just up and down on the East Coast. Like Georgia will probably be the furthest I've gone. But definitely I want to expand out more to go to other places like Texas, of course, Cali for sure. What's another place? Denver. Denver is definitely huge in the art community. Maybe Seattle. Definitely wouldn't mind going back to Chicago to probably do like an event. But I just want myself to kind of like want more people to know, like, hey, you know, this is what she does, this is how she does it. And just continues to allow people to know me for those clean lines, the color choices that I make, which surprisingly, I just find them on Google, and I just figure out whether if this color palette is going to work or not. But yeah, for sure, I definitely want to leave that imprint on that mark on people to let them know, like, hey, I'm a black female pop artist. That's never going to change.
Good. Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that. Keep going. If I can stand the fuck up, for sure. That's what's. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the bad boys and the bad girls. Let's talk about the villains. All right, so I love a good villain. I don't know what it is, a villain, but I love him. So, what is it that draws interest and curiosity to you about a villain?
I think their history, their backstory. Some of it you're like, wait, why did you still choose to be a villain? And then others, you know, they have like the little sad moments, or others who are like actually probably created to be evil. And so in a sense, it's kind of like they were forced to kind of be that person, instead of them maybe having a possibility to explore, like, should they just go ahead and try to be good? Yeah. So I think for me, it's always been stuck that way. I've always enjoyed their realm of things, how they think, how they interpret, how they see the world. a lot more different than the antagonist. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna stick with the villains team.
Yeah. Team villains for sure.
Yeah.
What are your top 5 like villains? And I don't know if this is a word, but villainettes.
Ooh, okay, for sure. Harley Quinn is definitely number one. People will probably laugh at this one. Mojo Jojo.
Yeah.
He is so weird to me.
And the cape.
Yeah.
The boots.
Yeah. I think it's just his level of his persistent for me, knowing good and well, like this doesn't even sound that great, but he's still gonna do it anyways because he feels entitled to take over the world. Who else do I think of as villain? Roger from Doug.
Oh yeah, dude.
He's another person. Trying to figure out who else. I gotta go with Angelica from Rugrats for sure. Trying to think if there's anybody else I did like. Actually, okay, even though it's not cartoon, I gotta go with Bane from Dark Knight. I have to. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Some people say I can do a little Bane impression, but I don't think so. I don't know.
There was an old coworker of mine when I worked in a hotel. He actually dressed up as Bane for Halloween. Like literally, it was probably the most dope thing. He literally like made the mask, costume, everything. It was so lit, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was so cool."
Yeah, those villains are great. I don't know. There's just something about them. It's definitely, like you said, they're just their story and how they just process their life, like with everything that they've faced. It's interesting.
Some of them even have like better costumes, better outfits, and I'm just like, wait, what's up with this?
It's crazy. Villains. Plankton. I think that's honorable mention for villains there.
God, yeah, that man is probably. I'll be like, listen, he's very creative, and I get where he's trying to go, but I just think he lacks a little bit of some certain common sense on things. I don't think he thinks it all the way through. I think for that moment he's just excited because it's like, yes, this is going to work, but I don't think he really thought it all the way through. So I'm like, oh, I feel bad for you sometimes.
Who's your favorite monster in Scooby-Doo?
Ooh, okay. So when I was a kid, I used to be scared of that little skull guy who had like that little helmet and he had the astronaut outfit on. He used to scare the crap out of me, and I couldn't understand it, and I don't know why. Like I couldn't. Maybe it was his laugh. Yeah, that used to get on my nerves. But I actually gotta go with the Creeper.
The Creeper. Which one is that one?
So he kind of looks like a Lurch a little bit.
The green guy? Or I think, like Lurch from the Addams Family?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see.
He kind of looks like, he reminds me of a Lurch from the Addams Family, but he's just so slow. But that poor man, like he don't say much word. The only thing he says is Creeper, but I've always thought that was like the weirdest thing about him.
That's early, too, right? Isn't that like the pilot, the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like. I was always scared of the I guess the diving suit guy. I don't know. He had a diving suit on and he would glow and whatnot.
That's one. Same one. I couldn't stand his voice. I'm like, I'm not a fan of that man. I used to always if that episode was playing, I would immediately skip it. I'm like, sorry, we're not watching this.
And I like the carnival one with is it the robot?
The clown. Oh, that was interesting too.
Yeah. That keeps on doing stuff.
Yeah, and then what else? Like the lady who did the witchcraft. She was interesting.
Oh yeah, I see.
I realized they didn't have a lot of like female type of villains per se in that TV series for a while. And I didn't even realize like how old that TV series was. Like some of it goes really back to like late 70s, early 80s. I'm like, oh my goodness.
For sure. What was your take on it when they started like hanging out with other people? Like, I don't know,
the celebrities.
Yeah.
I didn't like the newer ones now, but like the old ones when they were playing like on Hannibal, was it that Boomerang?
Yeah.
I liked it then. Like I think now, what do they have? Like Morgan Freeman was a latest one.
Like a bunch of.
I can't. Yeah, they had one of the wrestling person, John Cena. was on there. Tina Fey. That one was probably the funniest one that they did. But I felt like with them trying to, I think at that point, I think they're just running out of things to do with Scooby, so they keep trying to like make these new old renditions to make them newer. And I feel like certain things you just gotta like leave alone. If anything, you guys need to bring Pup Named Scooby Doo back. Yeah. Because that was a good series, and I feel like they cut it so short. I think it was only like maybe 4 seasons of it, and I'm like, that's it. That was like, come on, man.
Doing that. They also did that with this Flintstones, right? The Flintstone kids.
The Flintstone kids. Oh my God, yes. I was just like, wait, what? Jerry. Why? Yeah, Tom and Jerry kids.
Yeah,
those used to be like I couldn't stand Tom and Jerry as they were an adults, but when they did the television show as the kids, I was watching it constantly.
And then they had Muppet Babies too. That like baby thing was big. I don't know.
It was. I don't know why they felt like they couldn't give them as much recognition as they should. So like now they actually have like the Boomerang app. You can go back and watch them, but it's still not the same. And even when I go back and watch it, I'm like, wait, why is there only like 2 seasons of this? Like I don't understand. And then, of course, you know, their episodes, they're like so quick, but for us, when we're watching as kids, you know, we're thinking it's a whole 30 minutes. No, it's literally like 15 just cut real short.
Yeah, for sure. Last villain question. Tell us more about your villain character, this Iris character. What's going on with that? Is that still in the books? Is that still coming to fruition?
For right now, I haven't decided what I'm going to do with her. I think Iris has kind of like been sitting around. Actually, she kind of started off as dreams I used to have.
Okay.
I don't know if she's supposed to be like some type of little bit of rendition of me. She's kind of like, she's real stealthy, like a cat, like Catwoman per se, but also she's an assassin that I've created. And she's like almost like CIA Central Intelligence, but more of like she's her own CIA, like her glasses. When she's working, they'll turn into, she can see location, she can read body heat, thermal sensors, all of that. And she like has a regular day job. She's a librarian. That is her normal day job. You would never know who she is as an individual. And basically she's a private contracting killer who has this purple suit. And I don't know why I've been like, literally, it'll be different times or different areas in my life where I keep having these same dreams where I'm just this person basically just taking over. And I'm international. I'm not even nowhere in the U.S. Handling, you know, just everyday things for people who need me to take people out. So I had... Yeah, so I had one of my good friends, Lamar, most people know him as Mr. Dramatic. He ended up bringing my concept to life. So for right now, I probably might randomly on occasion may go back and bring her, like maybe make one little random panel.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like let people slowly but surely know of who she is. But I'm comfortable to say I'm like, I finally have like my own like OC character.
Yeah.
So who knows what can happen with going into her. Definitely want to bring something out with her next year for sure.
Yeah.
Because I know some people definitely like yourself, people are waiting. They're like, so what is she going to do? I wouldn't mind actually having like an action figure of her, like that, like a 3D printed version of her. That would be sick for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I can see the kind of like, I don't know, plotted hijinks she could get into. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's going up against good guys, right? Or is she going up against bad guys?
Bad guys, yeah, for sure.
But she's a villain, right?
Yeah, she has her own. She kind of like, she doesn't really care to be around like good people. She's like, look, my job is to get rid of you. You don't like it. That's tough, but I have a job to do.
That's cool. I dig that. Yeah, I hadn't seen like what I had heard about it on another little little interview of yours, but I hadn't never seen that before. So I think that's really cool. Let's see. What else do we got on this? All right, so I think that's all on the villains. I love a good villain. Villains definitely bring out like the story. You know, without a villain, what do you got? You just have like the story of the protagonist. And I don't know. I think, I don't want to say everybody needs a villain, but every good story, there should be, you know, a villainous character in there to stir up a couple of things.
Absolutely.
But I had before we move on to this next little segment, I had like one question going back to like your art form. I've seen you do these like challenges, these just drawing challenges. You did one. What was it like? I think the last one I saw was like June of last year or something like that.
June 2.
30-day challenges. Like, tell us.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of them though. Tell us like what's up with that. Like, I find it very interesting that you'll do one a day for the entire month, right?
Yeah, it's definitely hard.
Yeah.
So a couple of other artists like Harrow, Adam, and then they decided to create these prompts during the month of June. They actually put out their lists, which I will be participating in some of it, but probably not all of it because I have a couple events next month that I'll be having my attention towards. And basically you just follow the prompt, figure out what character associates with that word, you draw it out. And for them, it's like, it don't matter whether you use sketch, if you want to use ink, if you want to paint them. And then I think you can actually follow like the entire hashtag and you can see like a lot of people really participate in it. There's also Inktober that happens in October. I used to do them, but I guess with my timing, I haven't done it. I don't think I did last year, but the year before that, it's the same rule, same concept, follow the prompt. But I think at that time, it was strictly just only using ink. So you actually kind of not really mess with markers too much. But I guess it kind of got more flexible about it. So now more people are like open to do them. But June 2 for me is definitely my favorite simply because I like to see some of the old characters that I be thinking about, but I don't remember their name, but somebody else has drawn. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I remember exactly who this person is. Like, man, I can't believe some of these people really know some of these characters. And some people, especially like even the newer generation, they can remember seeing some of these characters. So for me, I enjoy doing them. I think now, like, since they've put them out earlier, sorry, y'all, I kind of do cheat a little bit and I'll probably like work on them like way ahead of time and then post them each day. But this year will probably be the year I actually will be actually drawing them every day and try to color them every day. But I think I'll probably keep it on like one, one color scheme for the entire month of June. So that way I'm also not like wearing myself out. And I think I'm actually going to work on going back to the sketch cards because they're so much easier, so much quicker to get them done and out the way. Yeah. And it makes good collection too, because I have like a slew of baseball cards that I've done from June tunes over the years. I think I started doing them in 2016 is when I probably started working with them.
Those are super size on those.
Yeah, and they're really nice guys too, the guys who do the prompts. So they know me every time. They're always asking like, hey, doing it again this year? And I'm like, yeah, I can't miss this one out. So yeah.
No, that's it. I dig that right there. All right, so our next segment, we're going to move out of the villains and we're going to move into just like appreciations about yourself. I know we talked about the poetry earlier, and that's excellent. Another outlet for you, another just little appreciation that you have. But what else do you like to do for yourself outside of creating art? I
like to dance.
Okay.
I haven't danced in a while, but I recently found an adult dance class to take. So me and one of my friends, we go just for kicks and giggles. I like to do Zumba classes as well. I do jigsaw puzzles. That's like my best downtime if I don't feel like creating, but I kind of want to like keep my mind constantly going. Yeah. I'm obsessed with like Sudoku. What's the other one? Mahjong tiles is another game I like to play. I do like going on trails when I get a chance, when the weather is nice and the mosquitoes are not out. I do like to go on different ones. There's like a couple of them here in Raleigh where I'm just like always at a maze to like see, especially when during that transition in the fall when the leaves turn. Oh my gosh, it's the best. I'm naturally a foodie at heart. So I'm always down to find whatever food truck fest. They have a lot of that here. And so I have to be mindful of myself not to go overboard when I go.
Do you like to cook?
I do love to cook. I'm I can make a really good stuffed bell peppers. That's like my go-to. And I really make a good sriracha mayo sauce when we do taco nights. Those are pretty good. Burgers. Oh yeah, for sure. That's not even like
you like a crispy taco or a soft taco?
Soft.
Soft? Okay. You like a flour or you like a corn?
It depends on what I'm having with it. Shrimp, corn.
Okay.
If I'm having like carnitas or steak, then definitely flour.
Yeah. You ever had a potato taco?
No.
Slam. Sweet potato tacos or just in general potato tacos, those are slammers right there.
I'm pretty sure there's somewhere in Raleigh that if someone makes it, I got to try it out for sure.
Yeah, you can do it. Sweet potato taco is easy to make at home, to tell you the truth. It's I dig little sweet potato, little beans, little pico de gallo, little cheese, tortilla.
Okay.
I do them on corn, or they got a corn blend. They got a corn flour blend here that's pretty good. I dig that one.
Oh, have you ever had a cheeseburger quesadilla?
Cheeseburger quesadilla. No, that sounds familiar. No, I don't think so. No.
What? Okay, one, you can make it yourself. I make them myself. You could probably find somebody or any restaurants in Texas. I'm pretty sure they have to have somebody who does it, who makes them. It's a game changer.
Sounds good.
Super game changer.
Yeah, that definitely sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so this one's kind of deep. I don't think I've ever asked anybody, but like with this whole venturing into the next volume of this podcast, like I'm gonna ask some deeper questions to the guests on the show. What makes you happy? That's broad, that's big, but what makes you happy?
Yeah. Besides food, if it tastes good, that is. Being relaxed, being around people who comedy, those type of things make me happy. My niece, when she calls me TT, it's the funniest thing ever.
For sure.
Or when she says no, the way she says no, those things make me happy. Just being able to stay alive in these crazy behind times. Like, I have to remind myself, as frustrating as everyone can be sometimes in their own thoughts and bubbles, they got to realize, like, shoot, man, I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I still have, most of my health intact. And those are things that I think we don't think about. We take it for granted. Sometimes I even for myself take for granted. And I have to realize, like, I could be in worse situations, or I could be 6 feet under, God forbid. So those things I take appreciation to. A really good playlist, when your playlist is playing like all of the hits back to back and you're like, yeah, no skips, like absolutely. Those things make me happy. Puppies make me happy. Yes. I feel like there needs to be a thing called puppy therapy for everybody who works in an office environment. There just needs to be like offer it once a week. Where they just bring in puppies, you hold puppies, and then that's it.
Yeah. No, I can definitely get that. That's definitely why I have dogs for sure. It's because I love them and can bring something out. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, those are definitely things that can bring a whole lot of happiness, and I'm glad that you got that outlet. I mean, I think everybody should. I was thinking earlier today too. I want to have like a mental health segment, or just discussion of that. But I mean, that's it right there. Just like overall happiness, making sure you're doing things for yourself to like keep, I don't know, I don't want to say sanity, but just like keep refreshed and keep like up and keep like, your ability to keep going, making sure, just always making sure everything's all right. Because like you said, like the times we're in are crazy, and you can't another day for granted, because it's just, I don't know, it's not a wise way to maneuver around things. Always got to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else.
Yeah.
So I guess, do you have any questions before we wrap it up to conclusions? Do you have any questions for me or anything like that?
I got to know who your top 5 villains.
Oh, okay. Top 5 villains. Top 5. I got to throw in the Joker for sure.
Okay.
Is it cliche? I don't know, but damn, it's such a good job, especially the animated series Mark Hamill one. I would say my favorite one. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, I know it's because it's a cartoon and because you can animate it to do whatever you want, but the acting on that is just really good. And I forget who the Batman, I think his name's like Tim Conroy, is the voice for Batman that did it all that time. But back to the villains. Joker, the Mark Hamill one is just, and I really get down with that one. Let's see. Something wanted me to say Cruella de Vil in this one, so
Yes, love her.
Yeah, Cruella for sure. So that's two. Other villains. I mean, I'm going at it. I don't want to leave animation, so I'll stick. I will stick in the end. Oh, Scar from Lion King. Yes, I get credit for the freaks.
He traumatized a lot of people.
Who else? That's on the Disney realm. What about like cartoon, Nickelodeon and stuff like that? Villains. Any more villains? I'm trying to think of video games too. No, that's kind of lame. I was kind of thinking of the Crash villains, but I think there's some better stuff than that. That's
Neo Cortex.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Him. Man, I gotta get you two more. I can't not fulfill this. I'm thinking like other movies. Like for some reason, like I don't know.
Those can count too.
Jack Torrance from The Shining definitely comes up, but is he villain or just a killer? I don't know. That's kind of difficult. Like take on. If we go back to Batman, Edward Nygma for sure. Enigma, the Riddler. I dig on the Riddler. Good. So I'll throw that one, and then. Okay. Out of respect, because he killed it, I'll do the Green Goblin, specifically Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
Okay.
That one's definitely. He sold me on that one all the way through.
Nice.
I'll do with that. Sorry it took me so long to get that. I should have.
No, you're totally fine.
Let's close it up here, Tiffy. Okay. What is the greatest thing that you've learned for yourself this year?
That all money is not good money.
Yeah.
Biggest thing I learned. Therapy. I know it's a little off topic, but therapy I definitely highly recommend for anybody. Male, female, young, old. I am going through therapy, and there's a lot of things I've learned about myself, and there's things that I didn't want to learn about myself that I had to learn how to bite the bullet and be like, okay, now that I discovered these are things that I do that I did not realize, how do we fix it? So it's an ongoing process. And I like the discovery of learning these things about myself. I feel like it makes me a little bit more enlightened to things on even how I even interact with my peers, how I interact with my family. And I've learned that I'd rather protect my peace at all costs.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter who it is, at the end of the day, my health matters, my mindset matters. And if I have to tell people like, hey, I need a break, then hey, they can accept it or don't accept it. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to do what I'm going to need to do.
Yeah, gotta
for sure.
Hell yeah, I get down with that. You got any last thoughts, shout outs, or even like upcoming shows that you want to tell the Freaks and Geeks about?
Oh, yes. So shout outs for sure. Gotta shout out my sister, Brittany, my niece, Brielle, my art club who are in Jersey, Monty, and Sketch. Love y'all to death.
Oh, where can the Freaks and Geeks find you?
Okay, so my Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are all the same names. It is TiffyInks, TiffyInks. If you want prints, canvas, wood panels, design work, I also do custom cartoon work as well as anime. I forgot to add that in there. So if you're looking for those type,
too, right?
I do. Actually, I have some anime characters that I'm actually going to be working on next month. I literally have like a list done, all the characters who I want to do, and they will be finished for June. So I'm looking forward to that. And you can go on my website, www.tiffyinks.com, TiffyInks.com. On there, you can see my bio, where I'm from, as well as you can see its upcoming exhibitions, my art resume. I also have my portfolio added on there, so you can see like my previous works that I've done, not just with paintings, but with markers, and digital work too as well. I know a lot of people also knew some of my digital work. I used to do like the album cover renditions of like I did Scooby-Doo on the cover of Snoop Dogg's cover magazine. So those are nice.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for the day. I hope you have an excellent rest of your evening. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us, and thank you for putting out the stuff that you do. It's definitely eye catching and something I have an appreciation for because it is.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm into it. So, thank you so much. Have a great evening, and hang back just a second. I'll cut this thing.
Okay.
And I'll say the adioses to the Freaks and Geeks.
See you guys.
Well, Freaks and Geeks, that's all she wrote. I want to thank our guest for the episode, TiffyInks, for giving us an amazing interview, an amazing insight into her creative mind. Definitely go hit her up. I'm going to throw all of her details in the show notes, her Instagram handle, her Twitter handle, her YouTube channel, and her personal website. Go show her some love. Go pick up a piece of art. Go throw her a like on IG. Go throw her a subscribe subscribe to her channel on YouTube. Just really check her out. You're bound to find something that you appreciate. You're bound to find something, a creation of hers that sparks a memory of past for you. So she's got some clean lines, and she's got some just good color palette that she's using to express herself. So again, Tiffy, thank you very much for checking in on the show, and go show her some love. Freaks and Geeks, that's another one episode. That's it. All right. We're going to carry on in next week. We've got another guest coming in, another episode planned. So be sure to continue to follow. Be sure to continue to subscribe, all right? Download these episodes. Let's get this download count up. Share the podcast with friends. Share the podcast with people that you know. And hit us up on the podcast hotline. That's right, Freaks and Geeks, the podcast hotline. Drop us a question that you want answered on the show. Can be any topic, something you're dealing with, something you're going through, something, just some insight that you might want the 512 Foot Doctor or guest of the podcast to answer for you. It just give you a little, give you, what's the word I'm looking for, a second opinion, okay? Hit us up, 512-522-3814, and leave your questions after the beep. And remember, the Doctor's Orders podcast is a Life or Death Studios production. Have an excellent day, Freaks and Geeks. Keep your motherfucking heads up and keep your feet moving forward. We'll see you on the next one. Don't be late.